Hi my worthy girls, my name is Jojo and I am your Kiwi living in the USA. Today I'm bringing you guys a review on the new Gingerbread Spiced palette by Too Faced. Yes, I was a little bit slow to the bandwagon with this one, but I finally gave in, I bought it, and I'm here to share with you guys my thoughts. Stay tuned. Of course, as usual, if you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe and leave me some love and leave me some comments, leave me some likes. I'm all about hanging out with you guys. Now this palette was released as a limited edition holiday palette, although I'm kind of hoping, and knowing Too Faced, they might have it as their permanent collection, kind of like what they did with the Sweet Peach palette. It was in such high demand, and this really has been a popular palette. It's available at Ulta, Sephora, and the Too Faced website for $49. It retails for the same price as all the other Too Faced palettes. However, I have heard that there is a little bit less product in this palette. It doesn't bother me too much because how many of us are actually going to go through one of these eyeshadow palettes? It takes a while. I love the packaging to this. I don't know why, but it might be one of my favorite ones that they've got. It's just so playful and festive and amazing, and it's all about Christmas, which I love. Look at it. Adorbs? I think so. We've got the little gingerbread man, everything is raised, so it's got texture to it, and then you open it up and it's kind of got this frosting kind of swirl pattern, and your little gingerbread, a small mirror. I claim that it smells like gingerbread. Again, I'd heard on a lot of reviews that it doesn't. If anything, in my opinion, we're all going to smell different things, but if anything, it smells like cocoa. It's got cocoa powder in it, so I get that smell more than I get gingerbread. You can smell a tiny, tiny hint of like sweet spice underneath the cocoa, but for majority, it really reminds me of the chocolate Soleil bronzes. So that was kind of a disappointment because you're expecting a whole new smell and this revolutionary thing from Too Faced, but they didn't quite pull it off with the smell, but that's okay because the shades in this make up for it. I initially didn't buy it because you've got like these pops of color. You've got this pink, orange, and bright gold, and to be honest, they scare the bejesus out of me. I encourage you, if you are a neutral person, you still want to pick this up because there's fun things to do with it, but you still have your neutrals, so you can kind of stay in your safe zone and not get too crazy. I was going through my collection and I was trying to figure out which one this was most like, and I had heard a lot that it was like the chocolate gold. So the one that I pulled out that I think is the closest is the Sweet Peach palette. Even some of them swatch almost identical. What do we think, guys? So clearly this one looks a little bit warmer, a little bit more colorful. This one is just a little bit more toned down, but you still can do similar looks. There are a couple of colors that stood out to me in each palette that are pretty much identical. So if you're not sure which palette to get, if you have been eyeing either of them up, it gives you a fair idea that the Sweet Peach probably is the closest thing that you're going to get to the Gingerbread Spice palette. Puree in the Sweet Peach palette, this one right here, it is almost identical to Gingerbread Latte, which is this one here. I've swatched them both on my hands, and as you can see, there's not much difference. This top one is gingerbread latte, and this bottom one is puree. Another one that's really, really similar, if not the same, is Summer Yum, which is also like a red based kind of terracotta. So this is out of the Sweet Peach palette. This is Summer Yum. This one here, which is gingerbread, and does it not look the same? Let's swatch them together. Summer Yum, gingerbread. They look the same. If anything, this formula is just a little bit inconsistent. Spice Rum, and then out of the Sweet Peach palette, you've got Caramelized, which was really, really similar. So I'm gonna swatch these ones. Spice Rum and Caramelized. They look the same. So if you're gonna compare, I would say that the Sweet Peach is probably the closest to the Gingerbread Spice palette. If anything, there are a couple of shades in the Gingerbread Spice palette that I just found to be inconsistent. I think the Sweet Peach palette was really spot on with all of the shadows. All of them basically felt the same. They're very soft, they're very creamy, they're very buttery, and there isn't a lot of fallout. With the Gingerbread Spice palette, I did find there was a little bit more fallout than I'm used to. It is what it is. The formula overall is really, really beautiful, and you can't discount one palette because a couple of shades are off. I think there was also complaint from other YouTubers that I had watched about Frostbite Me. This one is, I I get where they were going with this, I really do. It's kind of like your snowy, icy, glittery shade, but it comes off quite chalky, quite chunky, and there's not a whole lot you can do with it. So if I swatch it, it swatches fine. You've got a bit of pigment in there, like you can see that it's a shade and it can be useful. However, when you put it on your eye, it doesn't translate like that. Sparkles kind of go everywhere and you're not really sure what to do with it. I have managed to put it in my inner corner of my eye today, but even so, I needed a glitter glue, and I'm not a huge fan of needing to use something else with your eyeshadows that you've already spent $49 on. So I have put Frostbite Me in the inner corners there. Frostbite Me was just pointless, like there's not much you can do with it. And I was seeing this a lot from other YouTubers. A few people were like, what's with the shade? I used it as a bit of a topper on my look today. If you can see, there is a little tiny bit of sparkle, but it's not hugely obvious because it just doesn't come off the way that it looks in the pan. Another really big letdown to me, and I was so excited about in this pan, was spiced rum. Oh my gosh, I so wish that the shade came out as good as it looks in the pan. So I keep rubbing away at it, hoping that the formula is going to improve, but it doesn't. It's just flaky. Like, if you guys can see there's a few chunks. Like, can you guys see that? It's still a beautiful shade and it swatches okay, but it just comes off a little bit too flaky and chunky. And it's such a pain when you're trying to put that on your brush and put it on your eyes, it just doesn't work. Thankfully, the Sweet Peach has got caramelized, which is so similar, and oh my gosh, this actually feels like velvet. Like, that's the only way to describe it. This shade, caramelized, feels so smooth and creamy and amazing, and if you swatch it, it's got a lot more pigment than Spiced Rum does. So they're they're almost identical. I just wish that they'd pulled it off in this palette, because I'm not gonna jump back and use a palette for a shade that should be the same in this. You feel me? So let's get into the swatches. I'm gonna do row by row and just kind of swatch them on my own for you to see. Powdered sugar, and this is just your basic kind of, ooh, that feels really good too. Very neutral, but it still works really well. So this one here is powdered sugar, and then you've got spiced eggnog. Oh, one of my favorite shades, a beautiful neutral gold that just swatches and comes off sparkly and gorgeous. You could even use this as a highlighter because it's got that beautiful kind of sheen and shift to it. Gumdrop. This one doesn't feel as soft as the others, but it still swatches very well. It's a bright kind of neon pink. It's really pretty. And then you've got Gingerbread, just a really beautiful kind of neutral toned warm brown that you can use in the crease. And this one also swatches really well. This one is warm and toasty, and this one is just your true bright gold, so you can get that real like gold effect of it. So this is warm and toasty. And then another one of my favorites I didn't even think I was going to be into, but I freaking love, is Ooh Burn. And it looks purple in the pan, but when you swatch it, it's got like this plum kind of shift to it. It's almost got like a brown tint to it. It's just amazing. So I'm going to swatch it and look at that. Oh, it's one of my favorites. So here I've got the first row. I've got powdered sugar, spiced eggnog, gumdrop, gingerbread, warm and toasty, and Ooh Burn. Beautiful. Moving on to the second row of eyeshadows. Let's see what we've got. So we've got Frostbite Me, kind of white, glittery in the pan, but when you swatch it, it just kind of comes off too chalky. But it just doesn't even come off on the eye looking like this, which is a disappointment. Then you've got Look at My Cookie, which is suggestive, but it is Too Faced. This is also another really great kind of neutral transition shade. It's just kind of your like nude pink peach, and I think that goes on really well, especially in the crease. Spice is nice, and this is your true kind of burnt orange. Oh my goodness, that swatched amazing. Look at that. And then you've got Oh Snap! It's not matte and it's not metallic, but it's got a glitter to it. It's just kind of your neutral kind of warm brown, but then it's got kind of a glittery reflect in it, so it is pretty. Then you've got Bake It Till You Make It, and I have used this all over the lid, and this to me just looks like your true copper. It's got like a red kind of twist to it. It's really beautiful. This one here is Spice of Life. This is also a really fun shade because in the pan it looks green, but then when you swatch it and get it on your skin, it's got a gold reflect to it. Look at that, and it's swatched so well. We have got, so this one here is Frostbite Me, Looky at My Cookie, Spice is Nice, Oh Snap, Bake It Till You Make It, and Spice of Life. Second row. Winners. Moving on to the third row. Woo, just gonna give myself a stretch. Oh, have we stopped to appreciate my shirt? Because it is freaking cold right now, and it says, baby, it's cold outside. From Walmart, like $5.99. Alright, so we're going on with the third row. Don't get sidetracked now, Joe. Okay, so we're starting off with this light one. This is Sugar Daddy. And oh my gosh, that feels ridiculously soft. Holy macro. Okay, so that is Sugar Daddy. That's just your like pale pink. Figgy Pudding. This is a really beautiful kind of deep purple. Figgy Pudding works really well in the crease or the outer V. That was a really beautiful color that came off well. Hot Toddy I haven't played around with yet, but look at this. This looks like orangey in the pan. Even as I've got it in the light here, it looks orangey, but when you swatch it on the skin, it has got this awesome kind of pink plum reflect to it. What? And then you've got Reindeer Paws. Like I said previously, this is probably one of my favorite shades. It looks purple in the pan, but then it comes off as a brown black, and it just works so well with this mixture of colors. Then you've got Gingerbread Latte, again just a perfect transition shade, a warm brown here, comes off really beautifully. And then you've got Spice Rum, probably my biggest letdown. I was so bummed by this, and if you can see it even flakes away. Like, it's just not well formulated, which is such a shame because it is a really beautiful kind of neutral metallic brown. Sugar Daddy, Figgy Pudding, Hot Toddy, Reindeer Paws, Gingerbread Latte, and Spiced Rum. Oh. So is this palette worth it? I think yes. If you were thinking of going out and getting it, just do it, because I was really reluctant. I wasn't gonna buy it. I was like, I don't need that. I've got so many palettes, and it's $49. Not everybody has $49 to spare, but I think it's well worth it. It's a great addition if you are a makeup collector like me. I think they did a great job. There are a couple of shades that weren't so great, but 2 shades out of the whole lot isn't too bad. They're not as soft as the Sweet Peach palette. I find these incredibly creamy almost. They feel amazing, but overall the shades are gorgeous. They blend amazing. Look, you guys, like the blending on these shades was actually effortless. Everything just kind of diffuses together for some reason. Even if the formulas aren't consistent, the blending, it just does it itself. It's amazing, and it's just fun. You can do everyday, you can do festive, you can do colorful. There's a lot of variety in this palette. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. Subscribe and like to my channel. Thank you guys so much. Toodaloo.